Hey everybody, welcome to the No Pants Required podcast. I'm your host, Jen Mann, and today I am wearing sweatpants. It's cold, it's rainy, I'm not getting dressed any further. This is it. My guest today is Michael Mackie. Michael Mackie was born in Des Moines, Iowa sometime in the 1970s. No, he did not grow up on or near a farm, and to date he's never worn overalls, but is quite sure he'd look amazing in them. He has worked and freelanced for a variety of local television affiliates in Des Moines, Orlando, and Kansas City. In case you were wondering, he's an Aries with a Pisces rising. Over the years, Mackie has won a slew of regional Emmy Awards and interviewed countless celebs. And finally, Michael Mackie admits he's never seen The Wizard of Oz, despite living in Kansas for the last 20 years. Michael would prefer you do not judge him accordingly. All right, y'all. I have a treat for you today. I got Michael Mackie. Michael, you were my first dude on here, on my podcast.
That's a lot of pressure.
I know.
You should not have told me that. That should not have been in your opening salvos.
So here's the deal, you guys. So I met Michael years ago. I had to do this TV thing here in Kansas City, and Michael was a co-host. And I was so excited to talk to him because I love him, because I think he has like so much fun and energy. And when I got there, he was exactly like I expected. And then they were like, okay, well, you're not going on with Michael. And I was like, what? And I had to go on with somebody else. And I was so disappointed. So before we started this, I was like, hey, you're used to interviewing people. So if I forget a question, like, tell me what to say. So you're saying I should not have started with that pressure? That's what you're telling me?
Well, you shouldn't have started with that blanket statement like, you're the first.
And how do you feel about that?
How do you feel about that? So no, I feel pretty good. I'm very excited. We talked about this. We talked about this off air that I was just geeked up this morning. So I switched to decaf for you in everyone's prudent best interest. So.
Oh man, I kind of would like to see you fully loaded. I'm kind of disappointed.
No, you do not.
Well, I guess to me, the way I see it is, my husband did tell me, he's like, you're kind of like attacking your guests a little bit. And I was like, I don't mean to. I'm just excited to have you here. And I didn't mean to attack you. I think what it is that I think if anybody has followed me for a long time, you know that like, I don't really care to promote dudes. And so when I actually like one, I'm like, oh my God, I really like you. Come on to my show. I want to talk to you. So you were my first, when I was putting together my list of who I wanted to talk to, who I thought would be fun, you were at the top of my list.
Oh, you know what? That warms the cockles of my cockle. So there you go.
Well, it's our first cockle on the show. Oh, actually, that's not true. I had a woman on a few weeks ago. She keeps a tiny squishy penis on her desk. That's like her, I don't know if it's for anxiety or, I can't remember now, but so you're the second.
I had a nickel for every squishy penis I kept on my desk, I'd have like $74. So.
You'd be so rich by now. Oh my gosh. All right. So I have all my guests fill out this questionnaire and you filled it out, but I really think, it's hilarious, but it really doesn't tell me, it doesn't tell me who you are. Tell us why you're here, Michael. Who are you? How did you get to this?
If I was a tree, what kind of tree would I be? Well, let's see. When I went to college and I got my degree in broadcasting, with a minor in French and theater. And so I always thought in the back of my mind that I was destined to work on a television sitcom in Quebec. That's really, that was always my lifelong dream. Not really. But then life always goes a different way. And for some reason, I ended up behind the scenes in a powerhouse TV station in Des Moines, Iowa, my hometown. So this is a TV station that I had grown up watching, KCCI, for 100 years. And I was like, I have literally revered all these people for so long. And it was at that TV station that I realized that people who are on TV are the exact same as you and me. So that was very odd to me because everybody puts their pants on, or in our case, no pants, because we're not wearing pants.
No pants. That's right. Pants.
And so I just sort of fell into TV. I always knew that somehow I wanted to be working in TV, whether that's in TV, on TV, or just watching TV. That's really all I wanted out of life. And so I've checked all those boxes. And then somewhere along the way, I just realized I could write and write and write and write. And my parents could never, their mind was blown. They wanted me to be a doctor because, of course, that's what all parents want. But my parents could not believe that I could make a living stringing words together because they were both very analytical. My dad was an engineer. My mom was an accountant. You know, it was, so the creative gene, I thought, you know, went out the window. No, maybe I'm the mailman's kid. I should have asked.
I was going to say, where'd you
Anyway.
get that from? You got a creative great-grandfather back there in the past somewhere?
Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe it just skips a generation and then I got it. So who knows?
Yeah.
But my parents were always super supportive, and they always gave me sort of pretty much carte blanche to do literally whatever I wanted. And so that's what I did. And I have fallen on my face more times than I care to admit. But you know what? You get knocked down, but you get up again, which is better than getting knocked up, but getting down again. So that's my goal.
Right. Yeah, that is better. I've done both, and getting knocked down is definitely easier to get up from. It's a quicker recovery, that's for sure.
That's Ma'am Pam, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So when I met you, you were here in Kansas City on the news on a morning show.
I hosted for a couple of years. I hosted a show called Kansas City Live. It was kind of like a Regis and Kathy Lee sort of, but local, had a very local and hyper local spin to it. And I'll tell you this much. I had probably interviewed for 100 different things in my illustrious career. And up until Kansas City Live, I was 0 for 100. I had never gotten cast in a single thing. Not one. Not one.
I can't believe that.
Mm-mm. I would go to commercial casting, movie casting, porn. It didn't matter. I never got cast. And then
your face is too pretty for porn.
The TV station called and said, "Hey, would you audition for this show?" And I was like, "Sure." And then I went in. My God, woman, I got it. And I was like, "You like me? You really like me?"
Well, I was gonna say they would have been stupid not to, because that was the only reason why everybody watched that show. Was to watch.
You were sweet.
You were hilarious on there. You were so much fun, because that's the thing. Like, I feel like so many times, like, it's very buttoned up. Like, because, you know, I've done enough of those shows where they're just like, so you wrote a book. People I want to punch in the throat. That sounds kind of violent. You know? So, like, you were more fun than that. And I think when you're being interviewed, you always want to have someone who's more fun.
Well, I really cut my teeth as an entertainment reporter before I ever got that show. And I'd interviewed hundreds of celebrities. And so that was just, that just sort of came naturally to me. And so when they brought in the parade, and there was a parade of celebs who were in town for,
local dinner theater,
whatever rando reason.
I remember one night I met, one day when I was in there, I met Shirley from Laverne and Shirley. I can't think what her name is.
Cindy Williams. That's where I was going. Yes, that was. Yes.
She's always here, I feel like, for dinner theater, and we're always on the same circuit. She comes for dinner theater when I put out a book.
She's never not here. And fun fact, literally my last big interview with the magazine was with Cindy Williams, because she came from Planet.
Really?
And I said, "I need you to know this one nugget of information. I have only interviewed 2 celebrities twice in my entire life." And she was like, "Really? Who?" And I was like, "You and Jane Fonda." And she was like, "Well, that's good company." So, yeah, I just, that's so rando, because I just interviewed Cindy Williams like a month and a half ago. She's lovely.
Wow. Yeah. No, she was always very friendly in the green room, because you can't get away. It's a very small green room. So
very small green room.
You can't pull a diva moment. There were a lot of times, though, I think the first time I met her and I kept calling her Shirley, that's when she excused herself to use the restroom. She was like, I'm going to, yeah. She's like, "I just need to touch up my makeup before I go on." I was like, okay,
listen,
Shirley.
So I'm going to arbitrarily walk out of this room for no reason, and you may or may not see me again. Deuces. Yeah, I've done that once.
Take care. I'll see you next year when I'm back again.
Good talk.
Well, and I think that was the part too. Like, I would always see her and I'd be like, "Hey, it's me again. Remember, like, we met like last year when you were here doing, you know, who's coming to dinner or whatever." You know, she's just like, "Sure. Hi, how are you?"
Hey. And she's very like, "Hi, yes."
Yeah. No, there's no zaniness there, which I kind of thought there'd be some zaniness after watching that show forever. And I felt like as a girl growing up in the 70s, I was like, you inspired us. Like, we wanted to live in a basement apartment and have weird friends. Like, So she didn't get it. She didn't understand it.
I'm going to need just a monicum of jocularity, Shirley, just a little bit. Oddly, and that same time when I was doing Planet Comic-Con, I also interviewed random and odd Lou Ferrigno from The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
And he just got a cochlear ear implant. So, so he was working on just his speech patterns and his presentation, his articulation. So it was good because, he was an entity, a force to be reckoned with back in the 70s.
Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah, that's very cool. So do you work the Comic-Con? I always want to go to the Comic-Con, and I have never been. Is it fun?
It is. And I only discovered it within like the last 3 or 4 years because, they'd be like, hey, who do you want to interview? And I, of course, would always grab, because I'm a product of the 80s, as are you. I would always gravitate towards the 70s and 80s. They'd be like, well, we have one random member of Full House. And I'm like, never watched it. Don't. Yeah.
Super good. Gotta watch my cat that day.
Then if you get me David Hasselhoff,
I'm in.
Did
he bring the car?
This is funny. The only time that I've ever freaked out in an interview, and I mean, I fully melted down in front of this person, was when I interviewed Lindsay Wagner, the Bionic Woman.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was the quintessential Bionic Woman fan. Like every Wednesday night, the time stopped. Nobody bother me. I was watching that show. So when I got a chance to interview her, she, I'm Lindsay Wagner. I'm very calm. And she said, Michael, it's so nice to meet you. And I swear to God, at that instant, my tongue swelled to like 50 times its normal size. And you literally hear me go, and then. And I immediately thought I might have had a stroke, but I'm not sure. Anyway, we ended up doing, because Lindsay's very woo-woo, she and I ended up doing some breathing exercises before we went live. And so I was not at DEF CON 1, but I was like at DEF CON maybe 2.25, somewhere in there. So
yeah. Okay. Well, the woo-woo thing, that's interesting because in your questionnaire, you said that you're an Aries with a Pisces rising and that you had your astrological chart done. So I just had my astrological chart done. I'm an Aries with a rising Scorpio. And I think that's why we like each other so much.
You're on the
we
other
have fire and water too.
Right. But bonus, you get all the good qualities of both signs. And Aries with a Pisces rising, because I'm right on the cusp, I get all the bad qualities of each of the signs. So I'm like, I might be incredibly loyal, but I'm also wildly narcissistic. Like it's like you are like you are incredibly loyal, and then there's something good attached to that. Whereas I'm like,
I don't know. I think people who know me would say I'm also narcissistic. So.
Well, okay, bonus.
I mean, it was like, before, I think you have to be, I think to be a writer, you have to be a little narcissistic. You have to and then to write memoirs and then to write multiple memoirs. You have to do that. Or to think that I'm going to go talk to this celebrity because this celebrity is going to want to talk to me. This is exciting for them today. I think you kind of have to psych yourself up like that. And it takes a little narcissism. So I'll own it. I'm okay with that.
I had a boss once who said, you really, truly have a delusional sense of self. And I was like, I know, right?
Was there a question, sir?
Yeah. Enough about me. Let's talk about you. What do you think of me? Yeah. So that's how
exactly. I mean, that's, I think that's the thing. I love it when people you'll see those memes on the internet where they'll say what's something you could get up and talk to a group of people for 30 minutes about? And I'm like, myself.
Me, myself, and I. And I just yesterday, because I'm interviewing for jobs and I'm just starting the to snoop around for gainful employment. And I had 4 interviews yesterday. 4. And again, my favorite topic, like yourself, my favorite topic is me. But after 4 interviews yesterday, I was like, I'm gonna need a nap.
So did they ask you like, what's your greatest weakness? Did they ask you, like, I haven't interviewed for a job in so long because I'm self-employed and no one would ever hire me again. So I have to stay self-employed. But I remember it was always like, what's your greatest weakness? And you have to be like, I like to work a lot. Like, I can't leave my work at the office. Do they ask you those kinds of questions anymore?
Yeah. I never got a let's try and negate ourselves question. Maybe I was just lucky. I don't know. The interviews all went swimmingly. Are these all for,
can you talk about them? Are these for like writing gigs or these TV gigs? Like, what's the deal?
It was a little bit of everything. I've been gainfully unemployed now for like about a week. So I'm just starting
a whole long week.
And I'm just starting to come up for air a little bit. And, I changed my LinkedIn profile, and that, of course, opened the floodgates. And now it's like manna from heaven raining down. I don't know what I want to do. I've only, like, by the time this airs, it'll probably be, I'll probably be 3 weeks out and be like, please hire me. But for now, I'm just like, I'm going to take a break and freelance and do my jam and do my thing.
I heard podcasting's cool. You should try podcasting.
I've heard that, and I have only done one podcast in my entire life other than yours, and it never went anywhere. So I'm excited for this to be launched.
Now there's no pressure on me.
Yeah, don't screw this up, Jen, man. Don't screw this up for me. It's going to go out. I want it to go out into the ether, and I want your fans to become my fans and my fans to become, I want kumbaya, my lord.
Kumbaya, symbiosis, all that good stuff. We can just, so I'm going to ask you the worst. So I wrote a book a few years ago about all the horrible jobs that they had. And one of the things I wrote about was the worst question that I was asked in an interview. So I'm going to ask you, so if you're a potential a potential employer out there who's looking to hire Michael Mackie, you're welcome. I'm going to ask him this question, and you can decide if he's a good fit for your team. So the question is, if you were an animal, what animal would you be and why?
Ooh.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go now.
Don't overthink it. Don't try to guess what I'm angling for. Just whatever the first animal that popped into your mind is the animal you should choose.
Roadrunner.
Oh, and why would you say Roadrunner? Because
I am unstoppable. Because I am always on the go. 100%. I am like, I don't go from 0 to 100. I go from like 100 to like infinity. Let's see. And I always seem to I never seem to get killed by an anvil falling from the sky. So
hasn't happened yet.
I always land on my feet or my, what do you call those? My bird
your talons,
claws.
your
my
claws.
Bird talons. Yeah.
Your bird feet.
My bird feet. So yeah, you asked the very first thing that popped into my head, and the Roadrunner.
Roadrunner. Beep, beep.
Beep, beep.
All right. Well, there you go, everybody. And see, to me, that means like you work fast. You are funny, because the Roadrunner was a very funny show, and it was always funny when he did not get killed by the anvil. And, you're, again, a person of a certain age. all the millennials who are hiring out there right now, they're like, Roadrunner.
What's that? And they were like, person of a certain age. Jen, I have had so much work done. It's not even funny, but we're not going to talk about that. But suffice to say that, yeah, I'll guarantee I'm older than you. Mm-hmm.
Okay. No. Okay. Here we go. Hold on. Were you born before 1975?
Yes.
Were you born before 1970?
You don't ask a girl her age. Rude.
All right. So I'm 49. 1972.
Older.
You're older?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I need your doctor's name then, because you look amazing.
Thank you. But again, I don't just roll out of bed looking this good. This was spackle and putty. This is the first time I put my face on since the pandemic. So, yeah.
So can we talk about that? Because I don't know many men who put a face on. Can you tell me what goes into putting on a man's face? Like my husband, I wish he'd put a little face on. He just cold tap water and he's good to go and he looks like it. He looks every bit his age.
No. Okay. Now this is how vain and shallow and narcissistic, going back to the Aries thing. Like when you were like, hey, do you want to do this podcast with me? Like I scheduled on the off chance that this would somehow be, you would see my visage and not just hear my voice. I like went and got Botox last week because I looked like a Shar-Pei puppy before, but yeah. This week alone, I've had a facial, I've had dermaplane, I've had like all the things. I went and got, okay, girl, look, I went and got a spray tan for you. Okay.
You did not. I didn't even get my roots touched up. I'm sorry.
Listen, you can see my inner organs if you look close enough. Like when I'm at a pool, people are like, is that your spleen? Like what's happening? Because I'm translucent. But
I am too.
Makes me look, the little spray tan makes me look alive. So,
well, see, that's funny you say that because when I was a teenager, I am also translucent. And like when I put my legs out at the beginning and even the end of the summer, I still blind people. It's a lot. And I remember when I was in college, I would work in the summer times. I'd work for my dad. My dad has his own company and he would have me do, receptionist stuff and go get my car washed. And then finally, like one day he was like, you must lay out in the sun 1 hour every day. He's like, because my God, you are so pale. He's like, no man will marry you because you're so pale. and then I had a teacher when I was in high school who I think when I look back now, it was probably kind of creepy what he told me, but he told me that I was born in the wrong era, that I would have been a beautiful woman in the late 1800s.
In the Victorian era.
Yeah. He's like, you're buxom, you're pale. And I was like, thank you.
You were like, please stop talking. Yes. No, they would call me because I'm 100% Scottish because if it's not from Scotland, it's crap. And so I already have that ginger thing going on. So they would always call me Casper growing up because it was so opaque. Yeah.
Oh, so now you do the spray tan, you do the Botox.
I just did it for you.
For me. Oh,
let's just call it.
So my daughter, she's 14 and she's having terrible migraines. And so we took her to a neurologist and the neurologist told us that Botox would work for her headaches. And then he goes, and the poor man, he's got a very dry sense of humor. And, you're talking to him through a mask and everything. But he's like, well, and then of course he's like, well, also like, it'll help with your crow's feet. And she did not think that was funny at all. But I was like, you don't.
As a 14-year-old.
Yeah. And I was like, it's okay. I'm like, he's just trying to make you laugh because you are in pain. So stop, But she was like, will you be jealous, Mom, if I get Botox and you don't? And I'm like, I'll be really jealous because yours will be covered by insurance.
Correct. Mine, however, was not. No, I think the most, I've had a little nip and tuck here, nothing major, but I think the most violent thing I ever did is there was this brand new heavy, like really super duper chemical peel, and they wanted me to try it and write about it. And I said, you know me, I'll do anything if it's free. Fine, I'll do it. And they basically said, you know what, here's what's going to happen. Your face is going to fall off of your face and then it's going to grow back and then you'll be like the new Jan Brady. And I said, okay, it was, I've never seen anything like it. Do you remember in Sex and the City when Samantha goes to get a light chemical peel?
That is exactly the vision I had.
And she has to wear the veil, and Carrie's like, what are you, a beekeeper? And yeah, that was me. Like, I didn't leave the house because my face had somehow turned into hamburger meat. But then when it did grow back, like a month
like a baby's
later,
bottom.
I know. So
would you do it again though?
No.
Okay. Oh, he's nodding yes.
I absolutely would. Because I'm, you never know. But I feel like I got right. I feel like it got under my skin literally down to like the bone. You know how it like goes under the first epidermal layer? Well, this I don't know. So I don't even know
Are
what
you
layer.
worried about things like going wrong though? So as I'm aging, my eyebrows are disappearing. Like I have no more eyebrows, like at all. Like I keep going and getting them dyed and and I keep looking at the was it like microblading where you can have
Huh?
them. But then every time I'll have one friend who will do it and her eyebrows will look amazing. And then I'll think like, okay, I'm ready to do it. And then I'll Google and it's always like people who have like fucked up eyebrows forever. And I'm like, never mind. I'll just live with my little bad eyebrows. Like, do you ever worry that things are going to go wrong? Or is it just me?
Yeah, I guess I do, but up until now, I guess I've never really. Okay, can you keep a secret? I'm about to share something with you. I actually talked to a plastic surgeon yesterday
About?
well, he reached out and wanted to know if there was any chance that we could sort of collaborate. I would write articles for him and blog posts and other things, and he was like, and we can work out some trade. And I was like, what are you saying? So you never know. I might those jowls might be gone before you know it.
So so that same book that I wrote with all the bad jobs I had, I interviewed with a plastic surgeon back but I was like 23 in those days. Not that look, let's face it, unless it's 1880s, I've never been a beauty, right? We got that. But I was fine, And so I went
You
in
weren't
for
a
the interview.
leper, is what you're saying.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like I didn't look like this, but I also didn't look terrible, right? And he was like telling me, I felt so self-conscious because he was like, I've always known my nose is always like a thing for me. Like I've broken it several times. So my nose is always something that plastic surgeons are always sort of zeroed in on my nose. They're like, have you thought about rhinoplasty? But he was like, so he starts with the nose. I'm like, yeah, I know the nose. He's like, but then of course we'd have to fix the chin because then you just notice the chin once the nose is fixed. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And so that always makes me feel, I'm narcissistic, but maybe that's my good thing is that it's not about my looks. It's all ego about like me and like what I can do for you or something. I don't know, but I'm always afraid.
Don't change a thing for anybody else but you. That's been my motto. I've always done stuff that I've only done stuff that would like enhance how I felt about myself. So
right. And do you feel pressure because you're on TV?
No.
Okay, good. So it's just
but
really
I haven't been on TV for a hot minute, but we'll see. I mean, I might dip my toe back in that TV water. So who knows?
Well, and I think
the world is my oyster.
It really is. Well, and I feel like the way technology is now, like you could just start your own web show.
Mm-hmm. I could do anything. You could do anything
you want.
I'm in hurry up and wait mode because Mama needs a break. And I'm just going to take I'm going to hit the reset button. Beep, boop.
Well, I think this is the thing. Like you can look at this that like, I mean, I know this wasn't kind of what you had anticipated was to be unemployed at this point, but you are, and you can look at it that this is a chance for you to pivot. I can't tell you how many times like it has been the crises in my life that have opened up better paths for me, to go down.
Can you embroider that on a pillow for me? The crises in my life. I'll sleep on that pillow because.
Please do. I mean, because literally, like, I go through all my existential crises and then I'll write about it. And then someone's like, you should make a book about that. And I'm like, I fucking should. All right. Absolutely. So you should write a book. You should write a crazy, like, can you write a tell-all book or do you have to sign NDAs and stuff?
Oh, I bet you I could. I could literally do a book just about the wackadoo celebs that I've interviewed. The good, the bad, and the oh my God. And I have the receipts. I mean, like, it's not like I have the actual tapes or, recordings to back up what I was saying. So I think the one that will live in infamy, the one that always gets played at the worst, most inopportune time. I did an interview once 100 years ago. We're talking like 2001 with Tommy Lee Jones, who is an infamously curmudgeon-y interview if he's not in the moment. It could go one way or the other. And I was his first interview of the day, bless. And everyone's like, oh, Mackie's got it. The first interview of the day, he's so screwed, da, da, da. And I'd never interviewed Tommy Lee Jones before. Whatever. And so we sat down and they were still setting up the lights and doing all the things and putting on the makeup. And so I just said, hey, I have a funny story. I told my dad who I was interviewing today, and he goes, the drummer from Motley Crue. And I go, no, Dad, not Tommy Lee, the drummer, Tommy Lee Jones, the Academy Award winning actor. And like literally Tommy Lee Jones goes like this. He goes, oh yeah, that's funny. Huh? You know, and I felt like a sense of like camaraderie of like, we are in this together. And then they were like 3, 2, 1. And then I felt the audio guy tap me on the shoulder. Oh my God. Tommy Lee Jones went blank, like shut down, like Pac-Man after he gets caught by one of the ghosts. He went, wop, wop. And it was bad. I had a 4-minute interview with this man and he said 9 words. Well, wait, no, wait. 10 if you count as like 1. And I remember there were times when, and I was half joking, but they would always cut back to me because I would ask a question, and then he'd be like, great, or just like, you know, a flat, pat answer. And then the camera would cut back to me, and you'd see me go like this. And I would lean into the camera.
Do you have anything
like
else?
Like a crazy person for 20 seconds waiting for him to answer, and he never did. And then I'd sit back and I'd go, okay. I don't know how anybody else's interviews went. I didn't ask, but all I know is that I was 100% defeated after that. And that will live in, that was my claim to unfame right there.
Maybe you should have done the breathing exercises with him first before you started. You guys could have like zenned it together a little bit. I was hoping that with the joke you broke it, like he was like, okay, he's fun, he's cool, like, but no.
I did too. Because, you know, everybody, there was a bunch of activity going on as they were doing the last minute tweaks for the lights and things. And so I thought, you know, here's me witty banter, because that conversation.
Awkward silence. Got to fill it with an inappropriate joke.
And my dad had just mentioned that. And you know, I thought that's a good story. And it was. I really felt like Tommy Lee was like, okay, that was a good story. And then he was like, but I have to put up this front. Like, I hate doing these interviews. Or maybe he hated the movie. I don't even know. It's not important.
Do you remember what movie it was? Because now I'm wondering if he hated the movie. Now we got to go back and look at the movie.
2000. It was something with, maybe it was called Friendly Fire or Collateral Damage or something. It was some war film. And if I remember correctly, Samuel L. Jackson was in it as well. I don't know.
I'm sure Tommy Lee Jones played some guy who was angry and had to solve a major problem. And
if it was a problem, he'll solve it. Check out my book.
That's the thing. He kind of plays the same guy every movie. So,
do you get starstruck? Because I don't get starstruck anymore. I really don't.
Oh God, yes. I fangirl like a fucking moron.
You fangirl? Okay, who was the last person you lost your ever-loving mind with? Mine was, we just talked about it, Lindsay Wagner. Well, that's the thing. I don't have an opportunity to meet anybody famous. So when I do meet them, and mine are kind of like, it's like writers a lot of times too, like authors that I have admired from afar. And like, I just recently, do you know who Jen Lancaster is? She's a writer who wrote Bitter is the New Black. And so, and in my genre, in nonfiction humor, which is not a huge genre, she is like, she's the queen, you know, she started a lot of this for a lot of us. And so when I first met her, I was so stupid. I went to a book signing, and my Twitter handle is Throat Punch, and which is really helpful. Like if I have a flight delayed or something like that and I'm mad about it, because then they answer me. But if I'm trying to like be friendly and meet someone, it's scary. And so for her, that whole day I knew she was coming. I was like, I'm coming to see you, you know, Throat Punch is coming for you. And so I went to the book signing, and it was here in town, and like Rainy Day did the book signing. And I don't know if you've ever been to a book signing at Rainy Day, but you know, so Vivian really likes to keep that line moving, and she really likes to keep you moving. And so there's, you know, she'll take your photo, but then you've got to, it's like a step and repeat. Like you just keep moving. And I brought Jen a gift, and, you know, and I brought her my book because I wanted her to blurb my book, which is highly inappropriate at a book signing. Don't do that, but I did it, but also break the rules. So do it. And,
And so I got up to the table and I was like, I'm Throw Punch. I'm from Twitter and I love you and I follow you and I think you're amazing and thank you. And she was just like, oh yeah. She was like, you sent me an email. And I'm like, I did send you an email. I was like, you read my email. So, and then I had like a gift and then she was like, and she was like, I'm going to open this gift right now. And I was like, okay. And so she opened up the gift and Vivian is just like, giving me the death stare. And I was just like, hey girl, give me 1 second. Can you just take a picture from this side? It's my better side. Thank you. And, but yeah, no, I'm a complete idiot. Or when I met Cindy Williams for the first time, she
the first of dozens of times.
Right. She, actually, she made the mistake of showing interest in the book I was there to promote. And so I gave her a signed copy. And at the last minute, I could not think of what her name was as I'm like personalizing it. And I thought, I can't just be like, what's your name? And so I signed it to Shirley. That's probably why she doesn't like me anymore. So it's like, it's just stuff like that. Like I just do really, I'm a complete moron. We met a few years ago. We met, Diary of a Wimpy Kid author. I can't think now all of a sudden his name is escaping me. But my kids were big fans and my kids are the same way. We got to go on his bus and meet him and he's like looking around and he's just like, how's it going? And everyone's just staring at him. And so, yeah, no, I'm really bad. And I think if I really met an actual celebrity, forget it. Like I just pass out.
You know what we could do?
No. What's that?
Cindy Williams called me from her personal cell phone.
Oh, girl, no.
We could call Cindy Williams. Oh, it's early out there. She's probably not up yet.
She'll be like, who the fuck is this?
What the? Cindy, you're on live with Jim Michael. Hey, girl.
Well, okay, so here's the thing, and I think that would give her a bad rep because I remember a few years ago I was in somebody's green room and I met, oh, God. See, I can't think of anybody's names. Melissa Gilbert from
Little House on the Prairie.
Little House on the Prairie. Okay.
Laura Ingalls. Yeah.
Laura Ingalls. So she was here. Everybody had kind of been warned, like, don't talk to her. Like, she's in a terrible mood. Like, don't talk to her. And so, but I was like, oh, but it's half pint. I mean, I gotta say something, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, where's Bandit? So I'm just like, so like, I gotta talk to her. And so I went in and I was just sort of like, hi. And she, she was like, hi. And then that was like it. And then she just kind of like pieced out. And so, I don't remember who it was who told me later, but somebody later told me that they were her driver. I think I met them at some event or something. And they were like, oh yeah, I was her driver while she was here. Cause she was here doing a show. I think she was at Starlight maybe, or she was doing some live performance where she had to act like every night. Right. And he was like, yeah, I drove her. He's like, God, she was awful. She was so mean and she was so rude and da, da, da. And I was like, oh no, you're ruining it for me. I can't believe it. And so then I kind of had like this bad idea about her. I was like, oh, half pint,
Melissa Gilbert.
You're more Nelly than Laura. And, but then like 2-3 months later, like on the cover of People magazine, it comes out that like she's been acting with a broken back. Like, do you remember that? Like she had a broken back that she didn't know she had. So I was like, no wonder she was a complete bitch to you people. Like I would not have even, come to Kansas City, let alone get on stage every night. So I think that's the other thing. Like I think celebrities, I can't imagine being, it's one thing to sit down with an interviewer and know that you're going to be interviewed and you've got to promote this book or this movie or this album or whatever. But it's like, I can't imagine just sort of trying to fucking grocery shop,
and just be, sometimes you just want to be left alone. I 100%. I know. Yeah. Agreed.
And that's where I think it's kind of nice to be an author. Cause I think a lot of times people don't recognize authors. Like, I wouldn't know. I love Stephen King's books. I don't know that I would know him unless, if I saw him at Walmart, I don't know that I would know him unless he's carrying around The Shining under his arm. I'm not sure.
Have you been, where's the weirdest place you've been recognized just randomly? Have you, or do people, because a lot of people oddly recognize me from my voice. I don't know why, but they're like, are you Michael Mackie? And I'm like, I don't know. In my voice. Yeah. So, but have you been recognized any place weird?
I think it kind of surprises me. I mean, I don't get recognized a whole lot, especially at the beginning. I was anonymous, so nobody even knew what I looked like or what I sounded like. And but like early on, I remember my family and we went out to dinner one night, and my kids were younger. My kids still, they have no chill for what I do. Like they just think I'm super uncool. They're just like, nobody likes you. I mean, my son went to a book signing a few years ago for one of the authors that he likes, and we were in this space, and he's like, I bet you wish you could get a book signing here. And I'm like, I've already had one. Yeah,
shut your
did it. But we'd gone out to dinner. We were walking out to dinner, and we were walking to a restaurant, and this woman was walking out, and she did kind of like a double take, and she came back and she was like, are you Jen Mann? And I was like, and I didn't even know what to say because I'd never been recognized before. So I was sort of like, maybe. And I was like, who wants to know? And so
and then she handed you a piece of paper and said, you've been served.
Well, that's it. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, are you going to shoot me? Like, what do you want? And so she so my husband took our kids and went and sat down, because I'm really private about my kids. And so he took my kids and went and sat down, and so she continued to talk to me. So then when I came back to the table, again, my son, he's keeping me humble. He's like, that was a plant, right? Like you did that on purpose. Like, you know her, like she's from PTA or something. And I was like, sure, she's from PTA. The weird part is I'm getting recognized more now in a mask than I've ever been recognized before, which my own mother walked past me in Sam's Club a few days ago when I had a mask on, and I let her walk past me. I was like, yeah, I don't have the energy to talk to you today, Mom. But like people, I think the other thing too, she does know that.
Oh, good. I was like, well, she's going to hear it on this podcast, and there we go.
No, my mom doesn't know how to get to a podcast, but no, she does know that, because she said something about it. And I was like, Mom, I saw you the other day at Sam's, and I just walked past you. I'm sorry. I just couldn't. I just couldn't. And she was like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, I know. Sorry. But yeah, no, but I think the other thing with when you are called people I want to punch in the throat, I think people are a little afraid of you. So I'll get messages later on where people will be like, hey, I saw you at Target, but you looked really busy, so I just let you go. I'm like, cool, thank you.
I saw you at Target, but you looked like you were going to punch someone in the throat. So I just opted to not say hi.
Right.
I am the exact opposite in that, like, I'm so like jazz hands, spirit fingers all the time that, people think they can just walk up to me. And let me tell you, it takes a lot of effort to be jazz hands, spirit fingers all the time. So I'm not always on, I'm not always, at a 12. And that's inevitably when someone comes up and they want to chat and be chatty. And so I have to like, okay, let's go, and get fired up.
Yeah, I think that's a nice thing, is that because I'm the Tommy Lee Jones of the blogosphere. So like everyone just knows that like I am not a chatty person. Like I'll chat you up if I'm in the mood to chat, but otherwise I'm not going to chat. Well, and I think people are pretty good to respect that.
Sister. You're doing a pretty good job. I said you're doing a pretty good job today of being a chatty Cathy, sister.
Well, I think that's the thing. I can do it when I want to do it, and when I'm on, I can be on. But when I'm off, I am off. And so, it's like, it's kind of funny because I go to a lot of conferences. Pre-COVID, I was going to a lot of conferences, and I teach a lot of classes, and I can get up there in front of, hundreds of people and teach you and entertain you. But when I'm, and I'll stay after and I'll answer all your questions and stuff. But when you see me later, at the happy hour or something, like I am holding up a wall and drinking, like, like unless you want to talk, I said something the other day to a friend that I said, I hate small talk. I hate making small talk with people. And he was like, so like, you just want people to walk up to you and be like, so abortion, huh? I was like, I would actually prefer that. So, I don't like, I will have like a meaningful conversation or an entertaining conversation with people, but no, I don't want to talk about the weather. Although the weather is supposed to be very nice today here in Kansas City.
I know. I'm looking out. I'm headed out and about today. Why? Because I have a lot of free time. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. What are you doing on this hiatus? What are you doing besides like dermaplaning?
I know. I'm calling it. Are you ready? Are you ready? Mm-hmm. I'm calling it #fun employment. Yeah, I am. Isn't that good?
Staycation.
Staycation. I'm calling it fun employment, and I don't know what I'm doing. The freelance offers have just been raining down from the sky. So I'm going to start taking advantage of those and see what else is out there. But you know what? I'm at the whim of the universe right now. And I am literally saying no to nothing, because no never got anybody anywhere. Did you want to
come out and drink with me today?
Yes, I will never say no to that, but I've been sober for 7 years. So I will have a Shasta. While
So
you
okay, let's talk about that one. Like, yeah, you have been sober. You're off alcohol
Yes.
for 7 years,
Yes.
and you were pretty honest about it this year during lockdown that it was a hard struggle, because I think that has been everybody's kind of coping mechanism.
It was very, very, very touch and go for a while because I hand to God, I have a problem with wine. So that's just what it is. And it is what it is. And 7 years ago, I was truly circling the drain, and my doctor had it out with me. He was like, I honest to God, do not know how a person can gain 60 pounds in a year. Like, that's 5 pounds a month. Like, that takes effort, Michael. What is going on? And I was like, I don't know, just too many crumpets. I don't, whatever. But it was wine.
So you were in denial.
I was. And January 2nd, back in the day, that was the last drop of alcohol I ever had. And I've been doing my AA, and I've been doing my things. And even though the pandemic was a little dicey, I overcompensated with food, which everyone has done. So now it's, let's try and rein in the food, but at least the sobriety is still in check. So
right. I think if you have to pick one or the other, you pick the right one, right?
I absolutely did. Did you know that I had a stroke?
I missed that memo. No. When was that?
And this is getting back to the whole just say yes about, I had just turned 40, and I had what was called a right cerebral infarction, which is like a decent medium-sized stroke. And the only reason I'm here and talking about it is because I got a clot. I had the wherewithal. I knew it was happening. I had the wherewithal to call 911. And I got a clot busting drug within like 45 minutes, which is the window to sort of turn back the symptoms of the stroke. And because I had lost, I was slumping. I was not lucid. It was a whole thing. And when I got out of the hospital, people were like, what are you going to do now? And I was like, for an entire year to 2010, I said no to not one thing. I mean, I don't care what anyone asked of me. It was an instantaneous yes. I mean, other than like illegal activities. But people would be like, do you want to go whitewater rafting? And I'd be like, no. Yes.
Yes.
Do you want to go skydiving? No. Yeah. Yes. And hand to God, woman, it was the single best year of my entire life. Because no, I found out quickly that no doesn't get you anywhere. No shuts down the conversation. It's like an improv. So my motto for the last decade or more is just say yes. And it was
That's
really like
awesome.
I know. But it took this life altering, brain explosion for me to start living my best life. Because when I could have easily been debilitated, or I could have easily died if I had just gone back to bed, because I had woken up and the stroke started to hit, and I realized that was happening. And don't ask me why I did this. This is so odd still to this day. I went up to the mirror and I looked in the mirror and I started to say my ABCs. And in my head, I was saying A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like as fast as I possibly could. And all I heard out of my mouth was, and I was like, so I was actually at a hotel in St. Louis, and I called 911, and the dispatch said, okay, listen, here's the deal. We know you're in distress. We know what hotel you're in, but we don't know what room you're in. So you have to get to the lobby. So then by that point, I was starting to sort of fade in and out of, lucidity a little bit. And I was like, okay, get to the lobby. That's it. Just get to the lobby. And all I remember is getting to the lobby, and I don't remember anything else after that.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So talk about divine intervention. I'm not even kidding. It was, they took me, and the closest hospital of all things was an old folks hospital right around the corner. So what do they deal with? Strokes and heart attacks. Strokes and heart attacks and strokes. So
That is crazy.
The nurse practitioner knew right away what was going on. And I got that clot busting. I think it's called a TP. I can't remember. It's been so long. At the time, like 10 years ago, this particular drug was relatively new on the market.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're listening, pharmaceutical firm that saved my life, yeah, I'm your spokesperson. So because your drug saved my life.
Thank you.
Full stop.
Wow. That is, no, I don't remember ever hearing anything about that. That is a lot. I knew about your sobriety, but I did not know about that. That's great. And I obviously forgotten about your sobriety, or else I would not have invited you out. I apologize for that. That was
no worries. People ask all the time. You know me, I would go to the opening of an envelope. You just need to invite me. So that's it.
I will have sparkling water for you at the next book signing.
I love sparkling water. The thing that really put me on the map in terms of writing was my editor had challenged me to write something more long form. And so I sort of started noodling in my head what that was going to look like. And I decided to go on a year-long journey. And I didn't quite know what that year-long journey was going to look like. But eventually, I just decided to give up sugar, which is physically impossible because sugar isn't everything. But you know what? I said to myself, I got myself a life coach and a nutritionist. And I said, here's the deal. No sugar, no sweeteners, no gluten, no starches, no kidding for an entire year. And I wrote every warts and all, I wrote about it for an entire year. And that sucker put me on the map. That I got national, I was written up in a national magazine. It was really that was a good year-long testament to my writing ability.
And your willpower. Like, do you think if you were not writing about it, it's just that's my wonder. Like, if you weren't writing about it and it wasn't an assignment, could you have stayed with it?
Probably.
Like, or was it the fear of failure? To me, it's like, oh, I can't miss this deadline. I better stop eating sugar. Otherwise, I'd be like, fuck it, I'm having sugar.
Well, I made sure I went out with a bang. Like so I started on January 1st of 2019, and like December 31st at like 12:58, I was still like literally eating frosted cookies like a crazy person. Like, I
remember that. Yes.
And I was like,
okay, so you went through the pandemic. You went through lockdown with no sugar. Were you still doing no sugar by 2020? Or were you done? You had just come back from it.
The no sugar thing lasted until the pandemic. So I was sugar-free for 15 months. Once the pandemic hit, I was so stressed out that it was like, the pendulum swung to the other spectrum, and I was eating like entire bags of like flaming hot Cheetos. Because it was definitely a very stressful period.
Because when you did the no sugar, you lost a lot of weight.
And it fell off with zero effort. I mean, we're talking like
everyone's looking for the secret. That's the secret.
The secret is cutting out sugar and minimizing carbs and starches, but really sugar.
Do you work out?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you were still doing your workouts.
But sugar is in every last damn thing. And it's always hidden as something else, like fructose or sucralose or something ending in ose. And I would painstakingly, like a can of like my favorite wasabi almonds, you would think would be harmless. Nope. 6 grams of sugar, and there were like 4 servings in there. So that's like 24 grams. Right. I had to cut out everything. And my dietitian was like super, like, eat this, not that. Like, she was super specific. Like, I could eat blueberries, but I couldn't eat blackberries because they had too much sugar. Like that was
going to be my next question. So you could eat fruit, because I know some people when they do it, they don't even eat fruit. So you ate fruit.
I ate nominal, just very, very nominal things, and
just water.
Just air and water. No, but
like every drink would have, like every, you can't have juice. You can't even, like, sparkling water probably has sugar in it, flavored.
Sparkling water did not. And let me tell you, I should have bought stock in LaCroix because I drank like 800,000 limoncello LaCroix. Are you listening, LaCroix? I'm your number one fan. Number one.
you should have Michael be your spokesman. Okay. So, oh, wow. That's a lot. So, my other question then about this is that, like, did you feel sick when you had sugar the first time? Did you just go crazy? Like, what did you do what was the first sugar? And was it just, so, cause a few years ago, I did some fucking crazy diet I saw on TV where I could eat 500 calories a day and it had to be all natural. And what cracked me up though is when I went in to meet with them, they were telling me like, I could only eat greens, and it was sort of like that, like don't eat raspberries, just eat blueberries or whatever. I could eat strawberries, I remember. But then the guy was like, but don't worry, you can still have 2 glasses of wine a day. Well, I don't drink wine. I'm not a wine drinker. That's not what I drink. And so I was like, and so I was just like, wait, I'm on this like super restricted diet, but I can still have wine. And he was like, well, it's Johnson County. So yeah, no woman would sign up for this. And so, but I got so angry because like I couldn't eat out. I felt like I couldn't socialize with people. But then I do remember when I failed miserably at it and I gave it up. But I do remember like the first thing I ate that was like a forbidden thing I couldn't have. It was like my brain practically exploded. Like you just don't realize how much your palate changes when you cut all that stuff out. Did you have kind of that moment when you
I knew exactly what I was going to eat because I treated myself on January 2nd. There's a restaurant in town called Jasper's, and I had fantasized about Chef Jasper's coconut cake for a solid year. Like, I didn't need cookies, I didn't need candy bars, but that cake, it was all about that cake. So I went there, and Jasper brought out, before I even ordered my meal, Jasper brought out a slab of coconut cake, and I ate it painstakingly slow and appreciated every bite. And you're so right. I got so sick. Yeah, it was, my body was like, no, what is happening?
This is not okay.
Yeah, it was like, yeah.
No. So you're not doing any sort of crazy diet now though. You're just eating normally like the rest of us.
Just eating pretty much what I want. But now that I'm in the middle of fun employment, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and I have plenty of free time, I think
trademark coming.
I think it's time to get back into the gymnasium a little bit more than I have been. So
that's probably a good idea now that you have free time to do that.
Did you know that here's another novel fun fact. I have been teaching the exact same fitness class every Sunday morning for the last 15 years, just up the street at Lifetime Fitness.
No. What fitness? What are you teaching jazzercise? What are you teaching?
I'm teaching jazz. No, I'm not teaching. It's called barbell. It's kind of like circuit with weights, and I've been teaching it every Sunday morning at 8:30 for the past 15 years.
All right, I want to come to.
You're welcome to come to it anytime. My class calls it the Church of Michael Mackie.
Oh yeah, I want to come. It's at 8:30. Do you have a noon one at all, or just 8:30? That's the only one.
Is the only one. But for you, I'll play nothing but 80s dance tunes. Fair?
Fair. Okay. If we can have like physical.
Okay, I'll let you curate the list. That should be motivation. Ooh, and I'll sweeten the deal. I'll throw in a smoothie after class. What?
Okay, girl. Yes. Girl. Okay. All right. I'm going to come to your workout class. It'll be, oh God, I got to buy a sports bra. All right. Well,
listen, the weights go from like 3 pounds to 99 pounds. So it's literally, you could work at your own pace.
99 pounds? What? You have to lift 99 pounds?
No, you don't. You could literally just lift the bar. You could lift air, just wrists, like. And...
No, I was gonna say I'm ready for those workouts where they just had you like do soup cans. Remember, like your mom's magazines that used to just be like, just lift jugs of milk. You'll be fine. That's sort of the level I'm at. I'm at soup can level.
Just lift milk cartons.
Oh my God. Oh, Red Book, or whatever it was.
My
Family Circle. You guys had the best workouts. We miss you. Oh gosh. All right. Well, we have taken up all of my time, but I had so much fun today, and I can't wait to come work out with you during your.
You say that with a little bit more. I can't wait to come work out.
Oh, I feel like and also I want to talk to you, and we will talk. I don't need to do this here, but there were so many things you said today that you have about 4 books that I think we could write that you can write and that we can get you published during your fun employment.
Unemployment. Jen.
In fact, I think that's the title of your book. You know that, right?
Fun Employment.
Fun Employment.
I have thought about that. So,
I mean, you have it all in there. It's there. We just got to get it organized and get it written up. And now that you have all this time,
I got nothing but time, girl. That's what's up. And we have to talk about how I'm a giant stan of yours. Like when you reached out and wanted to do this podcast, I did the silent squeal. I literally went, like I sucked in all of my air and people were like, what? I was like, I'm going to email Jen Mann. So you know what? I have to give you props for reaching out because I needed this more than you know today, right now, in this moment, sister friend.
Well, I am so glad you came on and that you were my first guy. I don't know that we'll ever do another one. I don't know that they could live up. So I love you. And I hope that if someone, I kind of don't want, I was going to say, I hope someone hires you really soon, but I kind of don't want them to because I really think it's time for you to do your own thing.
Same.
It is time.
I'm going to glom onto you. I'm going to ride your 18th century Victorian coattails to success.
Let's do that.
Hitch my wagon to your giddy up to the whatever that phrase is.
To my pantaloons. Let's go.
Whatever Laura Ingalls Wilder phrase fits in best here. Yeah.
Well, no, I do though. I think there's a lot there, and I think that you should take this time to sort of unpack it all and organize it and query a little bit because
and by me you mean we because I'm gonna need a little assistance here.
I'll help you. You know me. I'll help you. Whatever you want because I don't want to toot my own horn, but I mean a few years ago I met maybe the second dude I might have on this podcast. I met a dude at a writing conference here in Overland Park, and we got to talking, and I was supposed to critique people's comedy writing, their humor writing. And I'm really bad at critiques because I hate to tell people bad news, but I'm also like really picky about what's funny. And he was the first thing I read. And it was so funny that I was like, you should turn it into a book and I will blurb the book. And he took that and went to an agent and was like, if I get a book, Jen Mann will blurb the book. And then the agent like signed him. And in those days, I had left my agent. I didn't have an agent anymore. And he was like, oh, I could introduce you to my agent. I was like, thanks.
Thanks. Full circle.
I was like, ouch. Okay, let's do that. But yeah, his book is coming out here like next month. I just got invited to his launch party and I'm very excited. So I should have him on so we can talk about his new book. But, and you are in that same category. That's what I'm trying to bring it back to is that I feel like when I read your stuff, you are hilarious. You are so funny. And we can totally, yes, it will totally help you turn all this into a book because the world needs more M squared. What do we call you now? Michael Mackie.
Michael Mackie from michaelmackie.com.
Okay. I was going to say, where does everyone find you? michaelmackie.com.
michaelmackie.com. Everything that if you want to read about my stroke journey, my no sugar journey, my celeb journey, pick a journey, any journey. You'll find it on my blog. So. See,
that's why I think we have 4 books there. See, you've got so many journeys. And then now it'll be the new one, the fun employment journey. And so you will get that together too. All right, dear. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate this. And I will be in touch and we will get those books done. I'll talk to you soon.
I love you. And I genuinely mean that. Like I said, I really needed this and you're so sweet. And timing is everything. Thank you, universe. And thank you, Jen Mann.
Thank you, Michaels. Thanks for listening and subscribing to No Pants Required with Jen Mann. Don't forget to follow me on social media and subscribe to my newsletter at jenmannwrites.com. My newest book, Midlife Bites, Anyone Else Falling Apart or Is It Just Me?, will be out in January, but it's available for pre-order everywhere books are sold.